Certainly we can.
Fine. Good evening, everyone. This is Sundar, Rajan, Jagannathan. I shortly call myself SRJ. I currently work as the Chief Operating Officer for Radiance Realty Developers India Limited. We have operations in Chennai and Bangalore. I finished my MBA in ITM in 2000-2002 batch and joined a company called CB Richard Ellis. CB Richard Ellis being a multinational property consulting firm. I worked there for about 10 years, and from there I joined Radiance. All along, I've been in the real estate space, from consulting to development now. I've seen all the sectors, mostly, all lines of business, be it retail, be it telecom, insurance, banking, large IT corporations, and IT-enabled services, the developers, how a property shapes up from the greenfield stage up to a fully developed product, be it residential, commercial, a retail mall, a township, all of it. Having said that, today we've taken a topic that's a brief, short introduction about me. In terms of quantum, I would have handled a total of about 3,000 odd crores in my entire career in terms of property values. It could be in the form of leasing, buying and selling, and transactions and development, all put together. Two key transactions that I handled was for HSBC, one in Boat Club and again in Boat Club for TVS. Both of it was purchased by then Union Minister Mr. Dayanidhi Maran and his brother Mr. Kalanidhi Maran. Those were, in those days, those were the headline striking property value transactions that could happen in the Chennai market. And I was instrumental in doing the transaction for and on behalf of the clients representing from CB Richard Ellis. And coming to Radiance, I have handled key land parcels, all the real estate assets that has a Radiance tag today. What you see, it could be just next to Navalur toll or just after Thorepakam toll, Perungudi toll. All of it were transacted by me. So that's the limited experience that I have. Now coming to today's topic, why did I choose this topic? In the last 3 months, just prior to the lockdown commencement, I started researching about various industries, particularly the agricultural sector, FMCG sector, food business, and the power generation sector. So these four is a very personal interest is there for me. It is very close to my heart. The reason is this four industry is what can drive the economy. Majorly, this only can drive the economy. That is why I chose to do a research on this. So I thought it would be very apt to discuss in detail about what I have, seen in the last 4 months of research, 3 months of research. Coming to agriculture, the production is definitely very low as of now in the entire nation. But there is going to be a very exponential increase, I may call it. Primarily because the major imports are going to go down. We are going to go local in terms of production. Government is also very keen to do local production, and a lot of people are showing interest. That's what I see in producing all our requirements locally. It will be, North India, South India, Eastern and Western India all put together. Yes, there are challenges, climatic challenges, but definitely people will overcome that, and we will see a lot of change in the coming months, qualitative change and quantitative increase in agricultural produce. That is definitely evident. What we will shortly encounter. Next is, I'm going by the what do you call uh, alphabetical order. So there won't be connection from one to the other. So agriculture was first. Definitely there will be a positive growth. There's a huge market. We are a very thickly populated country. So 130 crore people. We ourselves are a huge market. More than the export, we have a very diversified local market with us. So definitely it is going to cater to that. So agriculture, there is going to be a positive growth. Airline industry will probably see a negative growth decline in the coming months. Definitely there will be a fear factor for people to travel. So the vacation is definitely moving towards staycation, and there is not going to be too much of people who are going to travel. Even if they travel, it will uh, happen with a lot of restrictions. So there is going to be a negative decline there. Automobile industry, again, there should be a marginal decline, because as it is, there are not much of transport that is happening now. Again, there is a fear factor. People will stop buying cars. Only the commercial vehicles will ply. A lot of e-commerce will take over. People will uh, work from home. Not much of offices are going to get occupied in the next 3 to 4 quarters. So that is going to be very, very evident. Banking sector, the online, thanks to the online revolution, the transactions that happens over internet, banking, there will be a positive growth. Communication, uh, you know, thanks to every possible tool that we have today that is making people connected. Otherwise, everybody would have really, really gone mad, psychic about this current situation, pandemic situation. So communication, there is going to be a definitely positive growth. The consulting business, definite value adding consumers, consulting assignments. There will be a demand for it. Value adding consulting, it is, I can give you an example. I used to consult for a company in Chennai. They were looking for about 100,000 square feet space, that 1 lakh square feet space. I'm only referring to the value addition part in this. This happened way back between 2004 to 2007, over a 3-year period. What is the value addition there? Consulting is primarily a service industry, a service business, right? So what happens there is, a transaction will not happen immediately. So that particular client one Mr. Suryanarayan. He used to take advice from us in terms of what are all the availability of space across Chennai market. He started the inquiry. That means, he first called us in 2004, somewhere in the second quarter of 2004. The actual transaction happened somewhere in end of 2006 or early 2007. So the actual billing took about 3 years of our quality time. So that's the investment. So that kind of a patience is very, very important. You have to keep adding value to the customer. Only then only then the company is going to look at you as a very serious contender in the play, and you will have a role to play in the particular consulting assignment. So be very, very patient and look for what is the client looking for if you are in the consulting sector. Consumer durables, last year, the total business is approximately around 75,000 crores across the country. I think this year it is going to be probably less than half. The consumer durable industry is only the electronics probably will survive to an extent. The communication part of the devices are going to sustain for a while, but the rest of the products, it will take a toll. So it will not be like a positive or a negative decline. It will probably stay neutral. There will be a drop in the business level, and it will slowly pick up. Within this year itself, it will slowly pick up. E-commerce industry, huge market, so definitely a positive growth. In e-commerce itself, there will be quite a number of diversified sector which will have a very steep exponential positive growth. Education, online education is definitely going to have its share. Entertainment, again, online entertainment, the OTT platform is going to have a lot of customers. All these are going to be really channelized. A channelized version is going to be seen in the market. EPC, we call it EPC in the construction industry, engineering, procurement, and construction. EPC will, example is L&T, Gammon India, Simplex, these kind of companies. EPC will have a positive growth curve, but it will not be very significant. Prior to last decade, saw a huge growth curve, but from here on, the quantum is going to be reduced. It will not be very, very exponential, but there will be a regular demand. There will be a very, very fixed demand that the industry will see, the EPC division will see. Farm-based profession, again, like consulting, here value adding middlemen will have a role. The moment a produce is available in the farmer's hand, the first activity has to be packaging. Packaging meaning he will not be doing the retail packaging, but it will be grading, sorting, and packaging. So that has to be done by a middleman who will be a value-adding middleman, transporting from point A to point B. So that person is going to be the second middleman. and the third person will be the either the cold storage person or the wholesaler or whoever it is. So in all this, there is going to be a very clear value addition that is going to play a very important role. The FMCG sector is always been very, very buoyant, and it will see a steady demand and steady growth in the coming days. People will shop, but the formatting of the shopping will change. People will do more online shopping rather than physical shopping. The food industry, the restaurant business will become the kind of delivery mechanism through the Swiggies and the Zomatos and Uber Eats and all these platforms. Outing, the real outing of in restaurants will reduce, but definitely the food industry has its role to play. The government sector will be neutral. It will run the way it runs, but there will be a lot of reduction in manpower. More technology will take over in government as well. Hospitality industry will see a decline. The luxury segment is already seen a wipe out in terms of business, and a lot of retrenchment is happening. The insurance sector, health and commodity insurance, there will be a positive growth. Life insurance, life, health, and commodity insurance will definitely see a positive growth. IT-enabled services, and KPOs, knowledge platforms, knowledge processing outsourcing, uh, local and transnational business will be there. 100% there is going to be a positive growth here. Leather, leather industry will be neutral. Not much of growth will be seen. Legal, legal advisory services will see a very positive growth. Logistics business, be it storage, be it transportation, the supply chain, the entire supply chain will see a huge demand for that sector. Manufacturing, and that's primarily because of the e-commerce. The supply chain management will be serviced by the e-commerce industry. So the interdependency will be there. The manufacturing sector, actually thanks to coronavirus, we have to see a huge surge in the manufacturing sector. Manufacturing always will be important for any country. So we will see a lot of local production that will increase in the coming days, because a lot of orders will get routed from China to India. Media industry will see a positive growth curve. Medical supplies, again, local production will increase and local demand will be there. So it will be positive. Oil and petrochemical, there will be a drop. Real estate, it will not be, I will be talking very optimistic if I say there is a growth curve. We have seen a reduction in demand. Definitely, people are scared to buy, but conscious buying is going to increase. Maybe we used to call three segments of purchase. One is an end user purchase. I'm talking about residential. One is a end user purchase. Two is a purchaser who is investing for a long-term return, a steady return, and three is an investor who is looking for a short-term return. So probably the third one will get completely wiped out. An investor coming for a short-term return is not going to happen. An investor for a long-term return, he is definitely going to buy because other avenues of investment is not giving that much lucrative returns. So real estate will give a steady return because migration is part and parcel of our life. A lot of people come from other states, other regions to primary cities. So from that standpoint, investors from for long-term returns will continue to look at purchasing and end users purchase. End user purchase is the major in Chennai when it comes to residential developments. So definitely the end users are going to be very cautious in purchasing a property, whether right amount of care is being taken in terms of finishing it on time, in terms of uh, you know the cleanliness within the project, and seeing what are all the measures that are being taken to uh, give the enough green space, and a lot of factors in it, the approval point of view, all these things. So when these things are taken care of, the residential real estate demand will be very steady. 2 quarters are going to be challenged. The one which we just saw during the lockdown period, and the one immediately after the lockdown release is going to be challenging. But a lot of people are going to come back from other countries. So all the existing stock, the stock which are finished and probably in the final stages of finishing, will get absorbed. So all the fresh stock will start to see demand in the coming. So it is going to be, it will turn positive in the next 3 to 4 quarters. That's what we anticipate in residential real estate. Commercial real estate, of course, it will vary. Always the vacancy levels have been 5 to 15% in any market. Bangalore used to be the maximum in terms of space absorption, and there will definitely be a reduction in fresh space absorption. People who are giving up spaces, a lot of companies have announced, Google, Facebook, everybody have announced that our employees will start working from home itself. So we might give up the space, the commercial space that they took. So probably those spaces will come back to the market, and any fresh absorption will directly uh, move there. The co-working space that we saw a huge increase in the co-working space absorption, that will probably take a hit. There might not be much of new introduction in co-working space in the next 1 year or so. Existing stock absorption will happen over the next 2 to 3 months. But for that, we may not see any new introduction in co-working space, fresh co-working space, or co-living for that matter. Retail industry, all the malls, as in prior to COVID also, there was a saying that over the period, malls will definitely get, uh, this, there will be a little bit of reduction in mall goers. The number of footfalls will automatically reduce, primarily because people will get bored. They will choose to, uh, move towards the sports and other than entertainments rather than going and hanging out in shopping malls. thanks to the e-commerce industry, which was actually taking over a lot of shopping experience from the market. So as it is, the COVID has brought in a huge fear to mall goers. So there will be a reduction in retail industry as well. The growth will not be very significant. Shipping shipping industry will see a negative decline in their business levels, primarily because not much of imports will be there. Probably exports post the local market servicing, exports should be there, but it will not be very significant. Sports sports has two division. One is the viewing side, and one is the actual play side. So the viewing side is going to be completely telecasted. It's not going to. ICC is already in talks for like how a movie is telecasted. They are planning to have audience free or probably 30% populated stadiums with the game going, and the balance to be telecasted via the medias. So there will be a negative line there. Textile industry is going to be neutral. There will not be a very high growth percentage here. It will be very neutral. So from the industry point of view, I just listed down which are all the positives and which are all the negatives and which are all going to stay neutral. And coming to addressing this gathering, what are all the advices that I would give before getting in? Let it be any of these. It could be transport, it could be education, e-commerce, banking, or FMCG, whichever sector that you choose. Please do a qualitative and a quantitative evaluation. See, if I put in a number today that agriculture industry today it is 15.4% contribution to the GDP, and probably it will grow towards a 30% contributor. I will be doing injustice to that, because it'll be it won't be a real number. We can't. No one can actually put a number to uh, the market as of date. It will be a guesstimate only. Do your evaluation qualitatively and quantitatively to the prototype, to the particular demography that you choose to play, you choose to cater to. Based on the outcome of that research, of that evaluation, prepare a list, prepare your agenda. It should be a very, very clear agenda. For example, you know, let's say you take up manufacturing. Let's take the example of you start manufacturing PPEs. Now, we are definitely going to go from the lockdown period. Post lockdown period, what will be the total requirement for PPEs? Who all require PPEs? So there should be a qualitative assessment of the product that you choose to manufacture, and a quantitative measure of what will be the need. Medical professions will 100% need. So you have to choose which are all the sectors that you are going to cater to. That will determine your agenda, and then move to data analysis and interpretation of the data that you collect and usage of the same. It should be real time analysis of data that you collect. It could be primary, secondary. Always rely on primary research that you do. Secondary data will always come with, uh, you know, a baggage of liabilities. So always depend on primary data. Analyze the data, interpret it qualitatively and quantitatively, and then put it to use. Fourth is decision making. Come to the decision quickly and move towards execution. The first aspect is the service level agreements, be it manufacturing, be it service, be it anything that you do. Have a KRA for yourself. That will be the performance yardstick that you set for yourself. Have a service level agreements listed from a, you know, expectation point of view. What your customers will expect. It can be a B2B, B2C, B2G, or C2C. So whichever sector that you cater in, have a, you know, personal yardstick, personal benchmark that you can put for yourself. Always remember, under promise and over deliver. We used to have a professor, Mr. V. Srinivasan, in ITM. He used to teach us productions and operations management. In one trimester, he did service marketing for us, and one more paper. Totally three papers he handled. There are a couple of advices that he gave, and you know, we will. I'm not sure how many really remember them, but very clearly, it is like a, you know, it's a statement which one cannot forget in their lifetime. That's how it has gone into my mind. A well explained problem is half solved by itself. So if you are able to explain it at the drawing board stage in a very neat form, the solution, half of the solution will be there in your explanation itself. Then you just have to cross the half. It will be a very easy path. So, you know, be very clear, under promise and over deliver. Then lean management. I particularly asked Gulshan sir to share the last week's one of the presentation, one of the webinar sessions recording. It was from Geomart's. I forgot his name. He very in detail spoke about lean management in terms of, you know, how to handle the departments in the organization. So please keep your organization very lean, keep your department very lean, and you know, that will lead to profitability. So I will take on the questions. I want it to be more interactive, so I will take on the questions and you know, answer. If most of the departments are going to be online, is there any possibility of having dual employment for talented resources? uh, Dr. Ajita has asked this. If most of the departments are going to be online, is there any possibility of having dual employment? Dual employment may not be very helpful for the organization, but in terms of splitting the responsibilities, the roles and responsibilities of the candidate, of the particular employee, is very important. So there has to be a very well defined role for each and every employee, and the contribution has to be accordingly set and catered to. Talented resources is a nomenclature by itself. Talented resources will always find their role, or will always take ownership and contribute to the organization, to the welfare of the organization. So 100% there won't be dual employment, but a very well defined roles and responsibilities and KRAs will be seen in organizations. Shilba Xavier, I'm asking about this out of curiosity. What will you choose for a startup? Like in which sector to get a steady growth in a period like this? FMCG. FMCG, I'm referring to online coupled with your FMCG sector will be the immediate answer that I would advise you to start. I will explain this in a detail. I'm not sure where you are. I'm assuming you are in Chennai. I will assume that you are in Chennai and you are in an area called Adyar, or let's say Velachery. Okay. Now, Velachery as an area in Chennai will have X amount of residences, right? Now, the primary research that you should do is within the circle of Velachery, or maybe you draw a radius of 6 kilometers, 5 to 6 kilometers in and around Velachery, and identify probably initially to start with 500 customer base. So that will be your target audience. Now you don't need much of capital to start this. The reason being, this 500 residences will know what they require on a monthly basis. So when you collect this primary data, the 500 residences requirement with regard to their grocery, with regard to their monthly household supply, that becomes your data. This is your primary data and this is your real-time data. Now, when this data is available to you, you can do a central procurement at a much fractional cost compared to a retail store selling the same products. So if you are in a position to collate this data and make it a huge, procurement list, that becomes your startup idea. You're giving a solution to 500 residences, your customer base, by centrally procuring that at a fraction of a cost, curtailing all the so-called mere middlemen. I call them mere middlemen when they do just buying and selling. If they are not adding value to the product or to the customer, he should be defined as a mere selling agent. What I'm asking you to do is to become a value adding middleman. That's your startup idea. And you can do this without much of a capital deployment. And at this stage, it will be a steady business for you. So my immediate advice to you will be an online platform where you collate data, real-time data, and cater to them. Next sector would be education, online education platform. There are so many avenues that are available in the education sector where you can identify real learners and cater to them. So it all depends on what your interest levels are, and based on that, probably you can take my contact details, and if any assistance is required, any advice is required, I'm always available. Next is Karthikeyan Venkateshan. When will feedback links? I'm not sure what question is that. Okay, Azhar Mohammed. Can we see a lot of permanent jobs converting into a contract or hourly paid jobs, especially in IT industry? It's contradicting actually. Can we see a lot of permanent jobs? Okay, converting into a contract or hourly paid jobs, especially in IT industry. Uh, More than hourly paid jobs, it'll become task based. You know, say for example, compiling data in IT enabled services. It used to be hourly payments from a client to the business, and probably the business would employ employees on a fixed salary basis, and they used to give targets to the employees, and that's how they used to function. Now it will become task based, more than hourly or a fixed cost job. It will become, how many sheets I transcript, or probably how many data I compile. I have just recently, yesterday, awarded a contract to a selection of about 30 students to compile about 540. I had that data in PDF. I wanted it to be converted in Excel. So I have kind of given it to a group of 30 students sitting in Trichy for them to compile it. And I have told them that I will pay them uh, this much per uh, data. So they will get a fixed income. And I have not really given a target timeline. I've said I need it by the end of the month. So the sooner they finish, the sooner they get the money. So that is how it will turn. So more than permanent jobs, it will move towards a task-based pay. What key skills needed for a person to survive at this time? Uh, Raghunathan Sriram. The only skill that is required is determination. The rest all will fall in place. If you have the determination to work, to to cater, to solve, to serve, to produce. So only skill, or the only requirement in not only today, any part of the year, or whenever there is a pandemic situation, or whenever it is, the determination will take you a very long. So this is Nalini. How can we see the teaching profession in near future? Now it is 70-30, 70% in classes and 30% online. Probably it will turn towards a 60-40. And the teaching profession per se will be a very challenging profession. It will be very demanding. The teacher have to, update more, update themselves more than the student. So I think there's constant requirement for updation, uh, whoever it is. it will move more towards a online platform. 60% of the people are going to educate themselves online, is what I'm seeing. Definitely, that's what we are, kind of moving towards to as a society. Satya, all we need to know about winners and losers in a post-lockdown stock market. All we need to know about winners and losers in a post-lockdown stock market. See, stock market is, is definitely an indicator. I wouldn't say it's the be all and end all. It helps a lot of people in capitalizing their value, their net worth, their asset. A lot of people do trading in terms of stocks, commodities, gold, paper gold. There's so many aspects there, but it's only an indicator. So don't, unless you're thorough in studying a company, just don't blindly trade in the market, trade in the stock market. It'll be disastrous. I have seen so many people, losing their wealth completely without doing their, uh, analysis, without proper research about the company, about the sector that they get into in terms of stock market, investing in the stock market. Gulshan sir, will real estate sector attract investors and turn out to be an investment avenue when stock market is volatile? FD returns are low. Would you suggest to hold cash tight or should one go for real estate investment? Discounts coming from this sector. A lot of questions there. Um, Again, I will not compare real estate market with stock market. Real estate market is a real market. Of course, one will have to wait and see how REITs are going to be traded in the market real time. But investing in real assets is completely different from investing in stocks. Yes, stock market is volatile, and we don't know how it is going to really pan out. FD returns are low. Yes, FD returns will be low, primarily because of three reasons. One, not a lot of people are borrowing. Banks are actually parking their funds in, repo funds with RBI. Approximately 7.5 lakh crores is available with RBI from banks, which is not being lended. So if they are not earning an income, they are not in a position to pay proper interest to the depositors. So that being the case, FD returns, FD interest rates will be low. But having said that, FDs are safe, safe in terms of equity safe, not like stock market. The next one is, would you suggest to hold cash tight or should one go for real estate investment? Liquidity is always the king. You always, uh, you know, stay liquid in a market like this. Don't invest immediately. Wait for the complete release of lockdown, at least the moment release of lockdown, and wait for about 1 quarter to invest. You will really know what the market is going to offer in terms of discount. Yes, discounts are on the cards. Uh, Anywhere from 10 to 15 or even about 20% discounts are being offered. As I said earlier, all the old stocks will get wiped out very shortly when a lot of people returned from abroad. At that time, for a very short while, uh, there will be a upward trend in terms of absorption, and it will start to kind of straightening out. So that is the time local investors, people with liquidity, should evaluate projects. And if you're not an end user, if you're buying for end use, then be very careful in terms of choosing your project. Choose a project which is definitely will be completed. See, delays will be there in real estate. You cannot avoid delays. Practically, there will be delays, but choose a company which will uh, deliver the project with that 3 to 4 months of delay, or probably max 6 months of delay. A project getting delayed beyond a 6 months is definitely there are ill agendas behind it. There are enough number of reasons to suspect about that project, and to be careful about that project. So choose the project wisely. That will be my advice in terms of investment. Raghunathan Sriram again. Will smart work go about a change, since most work would be done at home? Why do you think that way? Even if you're doing the work from home, you have to do it smartly. So there's not going to be a change in that. In fact, working from home itself is a smart move. The productivity increases. A lot of uh, interest and lot of patience and lot of concentration will be there when you do the work which calmly. When you're doing it, you are definitely going to do it smartly. So don't think that way because you're doing it from home it will not be a smart move. You can do it very smartly sitting at home as well. Any other questions? uh, Gulshan sir, if I have left any question, please.
No, sir, I think we have covered almost all the questions. We have posted in the chat box if people are coming up with a question. I think we are not receiving any question anymore. Anyways, if we'll receive any further question, we'll post you through the
Sure.
mail or message, and we'll wait for your valuable feedback on that, reply for that, and we'll further post it to our participants through messages. So it was
Sure.
a say deep thought and insightful talk that was the session all about. Very valuable talk, sir. I request Dr. Ajita to summarize the session in just 2 minutes. Thank you, SRJ sir, for joining us today. Alumni like
Definitely.
you of ITM do make us proud every time.
Thank
And
you.
thanks a lot for joining us on this
Sure.
very valuable session for this day, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
Dr. Ajita, up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gulshan. Thank you, Sundar Rajan sir. Your presentation was really mind blowing. You told your A to Z presentation was really awesome. You told how to channelize e-commerce, bank, online education, online entertainment, how construction will be, how farmers will be, how they have to grade, sort, package by the middlemen, how FMCG is going to be, the food industry, government sector, hospitality, and the transaction business that are going to grow 100% by IT and IT years. You also told very clearly about a few departments, a few industries like leather and all those which are going to be neutral. You told very clearly how the positive growth rate is going to be in the legal department and logistics and their huge demand. You clearly explained the interlinkage between the manufacturing and e-commerce local productions, and the media is going to have a positive. You told about the media, medical supplies will have a positive growth, and there will be a small drop in oil and everything. And you clearly explained how the growth will be in real estate, which was very awesome. The way you explained was perfectly acceptable, and it was the real time. As of the now, it is the need of the hour. It was perfectly explained by you, and the existing stock absorptions, and there will not be. You told very clearly about how co-working spaces are going to be, and you told the previously the malls did not expect much of there were reduction in footfalls, and henceforth also there will be reduction of footfalls, and there will be a huge growth in e-commerce. And you clearly explained about the sports, how it is going to be telecasted online and all those. And you gave a very gratitude to your staff, and you told how to prepare an agenda, and how to keep up the promise. You have to under promise and do more than that, and how to follow a lean management. And you gave a very good explanation for the questions that were asked by the participants, telling them go with FMCG and online education. And you explained with an example how to set up a business and what business will come. And you told very clearly about determination is the only thing which will take you up to a long growth. And very clearly explained about online teaching. You also told the moment's release of lockdown has to be waited for the investment in stockbroking, and how to work from home, whether it is hard work or smart work. It was explained very, very neatly and very clearly. I hope all the participants would have been satisfied with it. They are sending their feedback. Thank you, sir. On behalf of ITM Business School Chennai, we thank you, everybody. We thank you, sir, on behalf of all the participants and the organizers, as well as uh, the ITM Business School itself. We are very thankful to our old student. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you,
Gulshan.
sir.
Thank you, Indu. And thank
We
you.
also thank all
Look
the
forward.
organizing. We also thank all the organizing team committees. Thank you so much. The question and answer session was very valuable. Very valuable questions were asked. But in the in the coming days also, we expect all the participants to post your questions very valuably, and we can see the way you are changing dramatically. All the participants, we could see the way first day you questions, and the day today how you are asking your questions. It's all very formulated, and it's like very good, very nice questions. And we hope you enjoyed the presentation. Keep posting your feedbacks in the chat window. Good luck to all of you. We truly appreciate your support. Tomorrow we have Panita Vishweshwar, founder, Pinwheel Design Studio, on the topic A Method to Magic at 4 p.m. Over to Gulshan, sir.
Thank you, SRJ sir.
Sure.
This
I've
impact.
just I've just put my mobile number and email address in the chat session. Anyone having any clarifications can reach out to me anytime.
That's wonderful, sir. It's really generous.
That's my WhatsApp number.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Catch you up later sometime on campus.
Sure.
Looking forward to have you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.